tankers? Welcome back to another one of my videos. I am Blitz, and today I'm going to be talking about the Jagpanzer E100. And the reason I'm going to be doing this is just because I was looking at the statistics with the 183 and how many players have played it, and over 9,000 players ran the 183 in the past 90 days, compared to the Jagpanzer's meager like 1,500. And I feel that the Jagpanzer really deserves a lot more attention over the 183, to be honest. I think it's a much better tank than the 183. So in this video I'm going to be talking about the Jagpanzer, how to run it, and really why I like it so much in general, and really just how much of a menacing thing it can be on the battlefield if you go up against one in a skilled player. Now, the Jagpanzer, it sits at 2,000 hit points, and look at that shot right there. That was a ridiculous shot. That really shouldn't have really even hit him in the cupola. I'm not sure why that did go through, but I am happy it did. But already we've picked up 766 damage in one shell, and that's because this tank has an 800 average damage gun. And this tank actually has a very nice damage per minute, coincided with that at 2,984. Now that's the damage per minute with running calibrated. When you do run gun rammer, it goes up to 3,208. However, gun rammer really doesn't give you an advantage here because the heat penetration when you do run calibrated brings it up 40 to 418, which is ridiculous. Means you can pretty much penetrate an E3 in the front. So definitely run calibrated on this tank if you do pick it up. However, it even makes your standard penetration up to 314, making it so that you're not going to really ever have a tough time penning any tier 9 or 10, even heavy tanks that are super well armored like a mouse. So to be honest, this tank has very, very good statistics on the gun stats, not to mention 800 average damage, as I said. The high explosive even has a very nice penetration at 294, dealing 1,200 average damage. That's only 100 less than the 183. Now, it doesn't get hashed, which is unfortunate. Imagine if it did get hashed, but this tank has so much more accuracy over the 183, and they actually buff the dispersion while moving. It's really, really good, to be honest. The aiming time's only 2.44 seconds, and when you combine that with dispersion of 0.317, that dispersion is better than the IS-4 and the IS-7, and that's saying something. That means that this gun can effectively shoot shells more efficiently if you're running it up close and personal like the heavies. Look at this nice dispersion. Shell flies perfectly into the spot where I was aiming at that IS-7, max rolls him, 995 finishes him off. And it's really just an amazing tank, and it has 6 degrees of gun depression, which isn't too bad at all. And you can see again that accuracy just goes exactly where you want it to. We've already picked up 4,000 damage. And again, we've got an RGN player running his Foch, and he's thinking he can probably get away from the Jagpanzer. But to be honest, you could argue that the 183 is faster than the Jagpanzer, but the Jagpanzer has a way better power-to-weight ratio. Pretty much keeping it at a constant 30 kilometers per hour, which is its top speed, compared to the 183. It really only stays at around like 18 to 20 kilometers per hour, even when you're going on a straightaway. And you can see the Jagpanzer is not as slow as you might think it is. It can keep up with the enemy tanks, and wham! Slam an HE shell right into the side of that grill. In the first game I played, 4,900 damage, and both of these games were played today within an hour. And you can see it's just very, very good. Not to mention it earned pretty good credits. And unfortunately, we did not pick up the mastery for this, but hopefully in this next replay we will. Now, the Jagpanzer only goes 30, as I did say, but when you combine 30 kilometers per hour with the 133.94 tons it weighs, that makes a just beast of a machine for ramming enemy tanks. You can pretty much ram any medium tank for, 400, 500 hit points just by a light tap going 30 kilometers per hour. It is a very, very heavy tank, and it makes the E100 almost seem lightly armored when you do ram it, because the frontal armor on this tank is very, very thick. And how thick, you may be asking? Well, the upper plate of it, or should I say the superstructure next to the gun mantlet, those are about 250, ranging up to 260 thick. And when you angle the tank, you can pretty much get them to be, 280, 290 thick. And you can see there, we did bounce 2 shots right on the tank superstructure because it does have very nice armor. And you may say, well, there is that huge blaring lower plate weak spot, and it is a weak spot, but it's still about 240 millimeters thick, which is pretty thick when you try and think about it. Now you can see here that E3 is going to shoot us right through that track wheel. But usually the track wheel isn't a huge weak spot on the tank because you can see the tracks are very, very thick. You're going to see me try and angle it as much as I can in this battle. What we've already blocked 1,300 damage, and we've dealt 1,800 with only 2 shells. And again, you're going to see here this amazing dispersion. Just going to wait just a second, and boom, it goes directly where you want it to go in. 2,600 damage dealt already, and we're able to wipe off half of an entire tier 10 hit point pool. The tank is just so nasty when you are able to penetrate your shells, and you will find it very rarely to not penetrate your shells in the Jagpanzer. And to be honest, I just find this tank really fun to run. You know, the 183 is a really frustrating tank for me because, you know, when I run it on a map like Dead Rail, where you normally can push your tanks up on that hill and camp up at that, you know, left-hand corner of the map, you can't really do that in a 183 compared to where Jagpanzer, you know, you can easily push it there and just snap shell after shell after shell because the 183 just has the worst camo rating in the game. Believe it or not, the Jagpanzer actually has a better camo rating than the 183, which is surprising to me, but it does. And you're going to see here, just wait for this shell. I'm going to slam into this IS-7. Here we go, and boom, turret flies off, almost 1,400 damage in the ammo rack. That is one thing I really find the Jagpanzer notorious for, is ammo racking IS-7s. If you shoot a heat round into like the upper plate of an IS-7, the upper like little triangle part of it, the pike nose part, it will pretty much ammo rack it, I'd say 30% of the time, or at least damage the ammo rack 60%. It is just so notorious for ammo racking tanks like the IS-7. Now, talking about the 183, he does slam a pretty nasty shell into us, but again, I was talking about how you can shoot a heat shell into an E3. We bounced the E3, we've blocked 1,900 damage now. He does manage to back up, but hopefully we are going to be able to shoot a shell into him. Now, you can see I have HE loaded because the HE, however, it might not penetrate that E3. It still probably could deal around 500 damage. I decided to load a heat shell, maybe shoot some heat right into his little cupola there, but look at that little weak spot. Boom, 494, finishing off that E3. And we already picked up 5,200 damage with one enemy tank left. Now, are we going to be able to shoot this 183? Let's hope for the best. We're going to use this tank's pretty good power to weight ratio, already up at to 20 kilometers per hour, and bam, 936, picking up 6,195 damage and 2,000 blocked. You know, the ability to block those shells pretty much carried the game for me. If I was in the 183 in those situations, first of all, I would have only been able to fire AP because of those little, you know, walls and stuff, so the HESH shells would not have penetrated. And when that E3 pulled up and shot me, I would not have bounced that. I would have died there. My AP shell would not have been able to penetrate that E3 like that Jagpanzer's heat shell did. There's very, very big advantages to running the Jagpanzer over the 183. And to be honest, I really like the Jagpanzer. It's just a really fun tank if you want to pull it out, have a blast, really just say, ha, say goodbye to 800 hit points off your tank. Because unlike the 183, where it's really just a frustrating tank to run when it misses shell after shell, where your HESH shells just don't penetrate, you don't need to worry about that with this tank, because it's either, you know, you use your AP shells, which have a 90% chance of penetrating, or you load your heat shells, which, you know, can pretty much penetrate, I'd say, any tank in the game very easily through the front, even when they're using their 10 degrees of gun depression or whatever they do go up against you with. So to be honest, I love the Jagpanzer, and I would suggest for you guys to go down this line. It's a very tough line to go down. However, I did like the Ferdinand. The Ag Tiger I wasn't a huge fan of. But other than that, I really think the whole line is great. Not to mention they did just buff the Jagpanzer E100, I'd say about a month ago, or a month and a half now. They gave it a pretty good gun arc buff. So to be honest, it's a very, very good tank. And I know Skate loves the tank as well. I just really think it's such a fun tank. You can bounce shells, run it well, and everything in between. But other than that, guys, I hope you did enjoy this video. As always, make sure to smash that like button if you did. If you didn't, please tell me why in the comments down below you didn't agree with my opinion, or you just don't like the tank. Other than that, guys, I'll see you in the next one.